Happy Tuesday, everyone, from just outside of Hanoi, and I'm really, really cold. I think these are historic lows right now, actually, and since I never could figure out the Celsius Fahrenheit thing, well, I kind of know how to do it. I'm not going to tell you exactly what the temperatures are, but I think it's something like 60 degrees, which is warm weather where I'm from. Certainly in Wisconsin, 60 degrees was summertime. That was shorts weather. I mean, hell, but we'd say like 40 degrees was shorts weather. And here it is, dipping down, almost so cold that it's Wisconsin shorts weather. And my hot blood just can't handle it. Because all summer, it got hot. There were times when I was reluctant to get outside, but I spent most of that time outside. And especially at night in Vietnam, it's just wonderful. I don't mind the heat at all. Everyone else was complaining, but I'll put on my Hawaiian shirt and walk around and get on my motorbike and get the wind, and that's great. But like driving across the river to work this morning was just miserable, all that wind. So with the cold weather, of course, that means it's the holidays, and this will be, I thought about it, it's my 5th Christmas overseas. And I'm not sure exactly what Christmas it would be alone. Now, I say alone as in not really celebrating the holiday. Alone for me counts as waking up and not having the tree, even if there's a roommate or somebody around. So I've spent several Christmases alone, and I thought about that at church last week when they were saying, well, we of course need to pray for the people who aren't with anybody for Christmas, or maybe it's their first time doing this. And I just thought, well, it's really nothing new to me. Not that it's really a bad thing. Sometimes it's downright surreal, of course, in China, like everything in China. I remember waking up Christmas morning and meeting my American friend, coworker at Walmart, the Walmart near my house. And it was a sunny, very cold, very snowy morning, of course much worse than here. And we just sat out in the sun in front of the Walmart, the Chinese Walmart, and just drank beers as people were walking by. I got a nice day drink buzz early in the morning. But I'm not sure if that's the route I'm going to go. Of course, there's no Walmarts here. And I don't feel like waking up and getting drunk, but that happens sometimes, and that's what happened in China. And so I'm not going to repeat a Chinese Christmas. It's going to be like another Vietnamese Christmas. I remember last year I was living in the same place, and I just watched Christmas movies and ate junk food and acted like a kid. And of course, I think I made videos on an older channel. And with videos, like this is it. This is going to be televised. I'm going to get on camera and I'm going to talk. It was kind of neat. The other day I put on the live fireplace thing. They've got a live crackling fireplace, and I remember watching that with my mom in Virginia once. She would have it on in the background during the Christmas day, and everybody would watch it. And you don't have to deal with fire. You don't have to deal with logs or anything. I've been looking for firewood. It would be nice to have another fire, but it's just hard to haul it around on motorbikes. Those are just Vietnam problems. Winter sucks. Let's not kid ourselves. Like, it's not just the holiday. It's just, even here when I get here and I think, oh, I finally escaped the winter. No. There are still 4 seasons in Hanoi, and it still affects your attitude quite a bit. And for me, it's just like the most, it just really puts me inward, more than usual. And it's a time to consider how the year has been and just make plans for the next. Thinking forward to the next year, where It seems like in the last few years I haven't made the process of actually making long-term plans. And after listening to Jordan Peterson and Stefan and all these others, I think I really need to start putting something together and sorting it all out. But, tomorrow never comes, and I'm not one of those people who sits around gloomy about being alone on the holidays, because I know many people have lots of company, or they're dealing with lots of family, they're dealing with lots of friends, and that can be terrible on the other extreme. Presuming this doesn't last forever, but I think it's good to appreciate the people, and it's good to appreciate the lack of people in this season. And really, I think for me, it's going to be much like any other day. I'm going to be working on Christmas. I think I teach. So what? I mean, that's just how it goes. I remember when I lived in Korea, I taught at a Baptist seminary, and I thought it was hilarious that we had to go in and teach on Christmas Eve. They gave us Christmas off, but we had to go in and teach on Christmas Eve, when a few weeks later they gave us the Buddha's birthday off. So a lot of mashing. All right, we'll talk about some current events. We'll talk about some current events, not just whiny winter Vietnam gloom here. I do have a question for Senator Al Franken in the much colder state of Minnesota, where I've spent a few very frigid, cold Christmases. I do have a question for him. I wonder why he hasn't quit the Senate yet. Because he let out that huge half, not really apology, pseudo-apology, saying, I'm sorry for how the women felt about my behavior, but my motives were pure, my intentions were correct. I'm sorry about how they interpreted the joke that I was trying to make. And this guy, okay, he's still on the Senate, and this is after Roy Moore, the guy who allegedly wrote in a teenager's yearbook, which is, okay, weird maybe, I don't know. It's funny talking about it, because I'm in a high school right now, and it's like I teach teenagers, and I just can't imagine, like, ever doing something like that. But it's a world apart from children, I guess. But it's just hard to measure all this insane depravity at all levels of power that we are seeing. And it's part of gaslighting, I guess is the word, or media distortion anyways, that we're sold to believe that the world is much sexier and much more violent than it really is. But maybe in Hollywood there is some weirdness, and I guess when you're there it kind of changes reality or something. I don't know, I don't care. Hashtag Me Too. Hashtag Me Too and Milo. Milo was on Stefan this morning, and he's talking about a new book coming out next year, which I am looking forward to reading, and it's going to be focused on all the sex scandals that have come out lately. And I just started reading Ben Shapiro's book, Bullies, and of course Ben Shapiro and Milo differ quite a bit, but at least, Ben makes the point, the whole idea of bullies is that the left is always attacking us, and they're always feeling justified in doing that. And, when they do it, it's okay. It's like when Al Franken does it, it's okay. There's a whole movement to keep him in the Senate because Democrats want control, and so it doesn't really matter if it's one of their own. And they're still attacking Trump with sexual assault allegations and everything. They're still bringing up the goddamn Hollywood tape, insider tape, whatever it was. The pussy tape, let's just call it what it is, the pussy tape. They're still bringing that up. I think it's much more damning when I remember him on Howard Stern as part of the Miss Universe, where he would go in and sneak up on girls changing in the changing room at the Miss Universe competition. I think that's a little more unsettling than the locker room talk or whatever it was. I think it's stupid that we're still talking about this. And as someone who's spending yet another, there is a sparrow in here. That's really weird. A bird flew into my classroom. As someone who is spending another Christmas alone, I think of the word, what's called the sexodus, those of us who are still single and getting older, and I'm seeing more and more of that in my own generation. That's fine. I think it's kind of neat. You know, it's cool to consider, like, there's such a thing as going to a beach with someone and yet wishing you were alone. I think of that old disturbing Elliot Rodger video where he's sitting on the beach, Santa Barbara, and he sees a couple and he says, man, like, this has just ruined it for me to see a couple together on the beach when I'm sitting here alone. When we all know damn well there are times when you're with someone on a beach somewhere, even someone that you really love, and you just can't stand them and you just wish they would go away. Two sides to every coin, you know. I guess, but there are better ways to spend time alone than others, and that's why you have to keep learning things and keep trying, keep playing those instruments, keep making those videos, because that's really all that we've got to keep us going at this point. It's like Ann Coulter had that just hilarious tweet about being single and living a life of quiet desperation, which reminded me of Gavin McInnes saying, well, there are a few cases of women who are better to us, who contribute more by not having families, and she would be one of them. Ann Coulter being, of course, one of only 48 people that Donald Trump follows on Twitter. It's kind of cool. Is that everything I've got to say? I guess. Stay serious, but not desperate. Me too. And man, like, the more we hear about these allegations, and the more it seems that people are just breaking all the rules left and right, the more paranoid we get. The harder it is, folks, the harder it is for guys just to approach women and talk to them, knowing that there's so much fear. Of course, I'm talking about America. Places where women don't speak English, it's a bit different maybe. I've said too much, man.